Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Wellness Warrior podcast. I am Coach Suzanne Penn, and with me is Coach Suzanne Baker.
Hello, everybody. This is our very first video podcast, and we're going to be on YouTube now. So excited.
Yes, so definitely you want to find us on YouTube and follow us or subscribe, I guess it is for YouTube. And you just have it under the Wellness Warrior podcast, correct?
Correct.
Mhm. Okay. So today's subject has been one that has kind of been in our minds for a while. I mean, we think about it and talk about it a lot. So this is kind of going to be a conversation, and it's the fat free fallacy. So I do want to start with, we are not coming here as your medical professional. We're not trying to treat anything. If there's something you hear that you're like, oh, I'd like to follow that, you need to discuss that with your doctor, and you and your doctor make that decision. So this is just for information and just a conversation that Suzanne and I are having together and have had together and wanted to share with you. So I wanted to start with the fat-free kind of craze. Like, people want to lose weight, and one of the first things they want to run to is the fat-free foods. And that's a problem. Like, you don't need to be afraid of fat. In fact, being afraid of fat can cause a lot more problem for you than probably eating the fat. Again, discuss that with your doctor. If they're telling you to eat fat-free, you need to discuss that with them, because you may be in a place that maybe that is necessary. I don't know. But in general, the fat-free version of things is usually not the best option. We should be getting in our diets about 30 to 35% fat in our diet. Now, obviously, there's better fats than others. So, like, we want the olive oils, and the coconut oil is controversial. So I'm not really going to go there, because that is can be controversial there. And there's avocado oils, and just like the things you can get, they're like, you want the healthier oils. And so let's see where I want to start, because I can have like squirrel brain. I have so many things I want to talk about that
Yeah,
I
that's a good
can
point about
go.
the oils. You definitely want to stay away
Mhm.
from the seed oils because they're so inflammatory for our bodies. Stay away, stay clear.
Yeah.
No vegetable oil.
So that's a big one. So I guess we'll start there with fat-free food. Often they replace,
Yeah.
because they still need something in there. So they'll put palm oil, soybean oil, safflower oil, corn, corn oil, like, but typically soybean oil is a big one, and palm oil is a big one. And palm oil is very saturated. Like, it's
Mhm.
like 49% saturated. And then you have your soybean oil, which is omega-6, and that's like your corn oils and safflower, sunflower oil. Those actually have the omega-6 in them, which is inflammatory. So, like, we want the omega-3s, like you find in like your fish, like your salmon, your tuna. You find it, in walnuts, in your omega-3s in flaxseed, chia seeds, those type of things. Like, you want the omega-3s, but because they're anti-inflammatory, and then
That's
you
right.
have the omega-6 that are inflammatory. So,
So
um,
anybody that's suffering with arthritis, joint pain, things like that, y'all, it is coming from these inflammatory foods. Just gonna
Mm.
say it. I mean, because that's exactly what's happening.
Yes. Yes. So
Science. It's science. We're not just like pulling this stuff out of the air. This is for real backed up science that we want to bring
yes.
to you. Mhm.
And something I want to share though, if somebody has a mission, so like if the soybean oil company really wants you to
Yeah.
buy their soybean oil, they are going to actually fund a research project that's going to confirm that their soybean oil is good for you. So you have to be careful, like who's funding some research, but you know, and like what's the agenda there? So
Right.
that would be like a soda company being like, soda is good for you. Our research proves that it's because they paid for it. And of
Yeah.
course, that's what the result's going to show if they paid for
Well,
it.
I
So
don't know if we've talked about this before, Suzanne, but anytime you see advertisements for a product, it's I'm pretty sure 100% sure you should stay away from that particular product. So if it's like on the TV all the time, they're paying big bucks to sell you this product that isn't good for you. So,
yeah. Yeah. We could go on so many rabbit
yeah,
trails. And again, there'll be other,
we
but
need
I'm
to
just
stay focused,
yeah,
stay in
we need to
the lane.
stay focused on fat free and the problem with that, like, how that can be a problem. So some things people need to know about fat is our bodies need fat. So one of the big things right now is, and I see it with all kinds of products now. Oh, we're going to regulate your hormones. Your hormones are off. I hear it all the time. Like that has become such a big thing. And but then they're promoting fat free or low fat or no fat. And I'm like, this does not make sense because the building block of hormones is fat. So if you're, I mean, fat actually is necessary for hormone regulation, for if you're having, like especially for the sex organ function and things like that. Fat, you need fat in your body. So the other thing, your brain. So
Mhm.
the fat is one of the main components of cells and of nerve cells, and your brain is 50, probably over a little over 50% is that. So if you're noticing, I can't think, I can't concentrate, I can't focus, and you're fat free, low fat, no fat, you might want to add the fat back in. Again, no medical advice here. So, but if you and your doctor agree that that's something you can do, then I would say give it a try because you need that. You need those things. I've written so many notes that I'm like, oh, I just want to pick out what's the most
It's such
important
good
here.
stuff, such good information.
Yeah. I've already talked about that. Oh, there was something else I wanted to talk about with the nerves, and so the hormone things. So leptin. Leptin is the satiety or your full hormone, or and so that is made of fat. So if actually having fat, you increase that leptin, right? And so then you can feel full. It increases your energy and helps actually burn fat. Um, Now, I know somebody's going to want to go there and say, "Well, I've got all kinds of fat on my body. How come?" And that's because your your body becomes desensitized to it as we get obese. And so there's that we've gone too far part, but but your body was designed to put some fat on, and we need that, but it also helps us with regulating how much we're eating and that kind of thing. So definitely wanted to put that out there. So things about fat free. So people often associate fat free and low fat and no fat with I guess low calorie. And that's not necessarily true. Often the fat-free version is often the same amount of calories as the fat version. The fat-free and the fat are usually very close. There's not usually a huge difference. The problem is that mental piece. So when you buy something that's fat-free, low fat, no fat, you are more likely to eat a larger amount of that food because you mentally have told yourself, oh, this is fat free. This is low fat. I can eat as much as I want. So you tend to eat more. Here's the thing, it does not have fat in it. So you actually are going to be hungry really quickly afterwards. So you don't feel full. And that's the other thing about fat. It helps us to feel satisfied faster and longer. So our stomachs don't empty as quickly with fat. So we tend to, it keeps our insulin levels regulated. Another thing that's important, we don't have those giant spikes. That's why, like for my own life, if I'm going to eat something that's a carb, it always is combined with a fat because it's going to slow it down how fast it's processed. So it's going to keep my insulin from jumping really dramatically. And then again, it's going to make me hungry. Your insulin's high. You're going to store more fat.
Mhm.
You
It's a
know,
vicious cycle.
it really, really is. Yeah. So we just have to be, mindful of all of these things. And the thing with fat free, so fat free, they need to make it still taste good.
Oh yeah.
So they're going to add other things. And I know Suzanne's going to go here shortly with a product specific that she was looking up, but they're going to add more salt, more sugar, more chemicals, more of those palm and soybean oils, lots more ingredients. I was watching a comparison video where someone had taken two products, compared the fat version to the fat-free version, and peanut butter was one of them. So the version of peanut butter that had fat in it had 3 ingredients in it. The fat-free version had a list a mile long on it. It had the palm oil in it. It had extra sugars in it. Like the sugar was significantly higher. And there really wasn't a huge difference in the calories. And, you know, so they've caused a bigger problem by eating the fat-free version. And they're probably going to be hungry a lot sooner than if they would have, and they may eat more actually, because it's fat-free, right? So they may eat a larger amount of that peanut butter over the version with the full fat in it. And so it's counterproductive. Like it's a false security, like, oh, I'm going to get this fat free. So don't be afraid of buying the full fat versions. If I get sour cream or cottage cheese or milk or anything like that, I always buy the full fat version. And yes, I'm not saying go out and eat all the fat you want to eat. There's still moderation. There's still, you still have to be within like those things that are healthy. So I'm not, you don't say, oh, Suzanne said I can have all the fat I want. That's not what I'm saying. But if you have a choice between a fat-free version and the fat version, the fat version actually is probably going to be less of a
Mhm.
problem for you than the other. And that's kind of where we want to go. The other thing is about vitamins. We have fat soluble vitamins, vitamin A, K, D, and E. And if you don't have the fat, you can't absorb them. That's the only way you can get them. So that's what skim milk cracks me up, because you're saying, oh, we've got vitamin D in our skim milk, but there's no fat. How am I absorbing this, right? So
Mhm.
you want a little bit of fat with all your meals so you can absorb those vitamins. And you are throwing, if you're buying skim milk, you are throwing your money away, because you're not, it might tell you it has all those vitamins in it. It might say, oh, we have D, A, K, and E in it. Well, your body's not absorbing any of it because there's no fat in that milk. So go get you some whole milk if you're, or get the like a good quality almond milk, coconut milk, something like that. So again, good quality. So your milk, you might want to do organic. Okay, but stay away from those low fat, no fat
Mhm.
kind of things. Trying to see if there is anything
Well,
else that I
I'll
need.
quickly talk about when you fix
Yes.
your plate.
Oh, there
So
you
when we're
go.
talking about, fat added when in with your food, so your plate would look like 4 ounces of lean meat. Okay, so chicken or steak or salmon. All right, so you got your 4 ounces. Then that's your protein. So then you're going to add in your fat. So that could be a half an avocado. Okay, and then your carb is going to be a half a sweet potato. So that's your plate right there. And that's all what you need. You got your protein, your fat, and your carbs. Okay. So I'm just letting you know that's one example. Okay. There's several things out there, but that's just one example of how a plate should look. And we are not designed to eat every 2 hours. Okay. No, 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 we're not. And that's what those companies want you to know. They're like, oh, hey, just like what you were saying about you're going to be hungry later. Oh, that's perfect for them because you're going to keep buying the product and you're going to keep eating. All you're doing is making yourself more obese and more sick. So you can go to the doctor so he can prescribe you some medicine to combat all that, which doesn't.
And yeah. And the fat's typically not the problem in food.
No,
It's typically the highly processed and the carbs, a lot of times the sugars in
the
things,
sugar
the added
carbs.
sugar. Yeah, a lot of times those are actually what are leading to
Mhm.
the health issues. It's not a lot of times it has nothing to do with the fat in it. It's the other stuff. Now, I wanted to talk about, you had looked up a product, because one of the things is when somebody is trying to, I guess, lower their fat level, they may cut out meats, or
Yeah,
they may go to like the vegetarian or vegan side of things. And I'm not like, this isn't a discussion about vegan or whatever. It's just a
right.
discussion about the whole, like, if you are trying to avoid fat, so you're cutting out meat for that reason. And Suzanne found
Yeah.
out some interesting things that we should know about.
So yeah, so the vegan and vegetarian people out there, if you're doing this, eating the whole foods is going to be way better than going and buying those highly processed prepackaged meals that are labeled, for vegan or vegetarian. Now, I personally have never tried one of those meatless or plant-based burgers. I'm just not going to do it. I'm not putting that crap in my body. So what I found out is that they are so ultra processed. And so they're putting in all these synthetic chemicals. I don't even know how to pronounce it. If you can't pronounce the name, don't buy it. Don't eat it. An apple is an apple. What's in an apple? It's an apple, right? So those are very concerning because they're putting in all these preservatives. And I have been preaching and teaching about preservatives for so long. I could do that. I probably talk about it in my sleep, but they put in food dyes. They take out all the goodness and throw in this junk, right? So since they're so heavily processed, they have, like you were talking about, they have to put in these ingredients. They're not even nutritious to make it taste better, right? I mean, or else you're just gonna be eating like cardboard, which I've never eaten cardboard, but I can imagine. I don't think I have anyway. um, so they put in a lot of salt, a lot of sodium, y'all, to make it taste better, to make our taste buds go, so this is a tasty treat, but actually you're just eating salted styrofoam. I don't know. But so I looked up the Impossible Burger, 4 ounces, 370 milligrams of sodium in 4 ounces. The Beyond Burger, 4 ounces, 390 milligrams of sodium. Comparing that to an 85% ground beef 4 ounce patty, 80 milligrams.
Mhm.
It's real meat, y'all. It's real meat.
Mhm.
Ground turkey, 4 ounces, 70 milligrams of sodium naturally found in it. So, I mean, come on. What you're taking, you're thinking you're eating better, but you're not. You're not.
Mhm.
You're better off eating the whole foods the way God made them. He designed the stuff for our bodies, y'all. So he knows what he's doing. So your
Mhm.
hair, your skin, your nails are going to be so much better. People who have like rashes and I'm not saying I know what your rash is, but I'm just saying, your hair is getting dry and brittle, your nails, you know, that's the first sign that you know that your body isn't all that healthy when you're eating all that processed food. I
Yeah.
could go on and on, sorry, but I know we're running
Oh, no,
out of time here.
no, no. And so that we're just wanting awareness here. So,
Yes.
do your own research on this when you go to the store. And if you are tempted to get the fat-free version, check it out.
Yes.
And you also need to pay attention to serving size because that's another trick that
Mhm.
fat-free, low-fat companies will
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
They'll make you think that it actually is less calories, but they decrease the serving size. So those things on the label are based off of that serving size, which, is smaller than the fat-free version size. So they very tricky and it's kind of sad, but that's how they make money. And so perfect example is cheese. I was getting a fat-free cheese or low fat. I guess it wasn't fat-free, but it was low fat cheese. And one day, this has been a while ago, that I decided, oh, here's the full fat version. Let me just look at them. And the sodium was probably double or more. And there were some other differences. And the calorie difference was like 10 calories. It was
Mhm.
per serving, and the serving
Yeah.
sizes were the same for that one. But the thing is, me eating that full fat version
Mhm.
is going to keep me full longer than eating this other one. And I'm getting like a huge amount of sodium that I don't need.
Mhm.
So you might not be doing yourself any favors. And usually you're not when you go to those type of things. And again, we always say whole is better than processed. That's something we're going to preach all the time.
Mhm.
But if you're going to buy processed products, probably the full fat version is probably a better choice.
Mhm.
Again, you need to do your research too. So don't take my word for it or Suzanne Baker's word for it. Don't take our words for it. Check for yourself. But it's pretty well known in the world of health that that is an issue. So
Absolutely.
just take that and, you know, go for the, like go for as close to the real thing as you can,
Right.
is obviously where we want you to be, in that. So, yeah, and I'm sure we'll have more to chat about later down the road on this subject, but yeah, I guess
I'm so
that's
excited to be
that's
doing
it.
these and putting them out on YouTube because we've been wanting to do this for a while. So this is so exciting.
Yes,
Yeah.
put a
People
face
can
to a
see us.
name.
They know who we are. They're putting a
Yeah.
name to the face now.
Yeah. Yeah, we're real people, and sometimes we might be too real. I don't know. But yes, so we hope you will join us in the future. Invite your friends to, subscribe and watch us, and we look forward to
Yeah.
our next discussion, and not sure what that'll be, but at this point, but we hope to bring you more things of value, and yeah, have a
Mhm.
blessed, wonderful day.
Bye, y'all.
Bye. Where did my button go?
Mine's right